Hi, do you hear me? So I cannot hear you. I don't know why. Let me check. Kāpēc mēs viņu nedzirdam? So, can you talk, please? Okay, I don't hear you. Uh, Neskan. Es šobrīd skanu skaņu. Nav. Kur pazuda tikko bija? Tagad iet pa taisno uz mikseru. Tikko skanēja. Ok, bet es viņu nedzirdu. Jā, tur tāda sistēma. Um, okay. So, so do you hear me now? Hello, and welcome to Game Dev Meetup 86. So this will be an interesting meetup with two really interesting presentations. And today, Rotem Eldar will tell us about the publishing case of the game ASMR Slicing. And then Kasper Steinbergs will tell us about the Global Game Jam Next event. So let's start with Rotem Eldar and his presentation.
All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm virtually joining you because there's no flights unfortunately, but I hope that next time we meet, it's going to be in person. So let me just share my screen real quick. Oh, I can't seem to share my screen. Is there any way you can give me permissions?
Just a second.
Sure.
So now it should be okay.
All right. Guessing you can see my screen, right?
Yep, everything's cool.
Great. Okay. All right. So thanks again for coming. Today we'll speak about ASMR slicing and the making of it. We'll speak about the idea behind ASMR slicing and how we got started, from the ideation to gamification to success and worldwide release. If you have any question whatsoever, I'm sure there's a Q&A button and you can raise your hand after we're finished, and I'll try to answer as many questions as time permits. A little bit about us. Crazy Labs is the home for hyper casual and lifestyle games, licensing and casual IP games. Our games were downloaded over 3 billion times, and we have over 18 million monthly active users. We have offices in Macedonia, Israel, Bulgaria, and China. Here you can see some of our latest games. There's actually 2 that didn't come in this presentation, but you can see them now in the top 10 games in the US iOS. It's Foot Clinic and Tie-Dye. Today we'll speak about ASMR slicing, which was the most downloaded game in May 2020. We're reaching 50 million downloads in less than 2 months. So the ideation. Trendy games today, you can find them inspired from top viewed videos, online challenges, even remaking of old school games. So there's all sorts of places where you can get the idea of where your next hit is going to come from. So the user acquisition videos should also be based on the original videos to catch the attention of your users. Some of the prototypes we make are from either a TikTok challenge or a trendy Instagram video. And difficult thing is to gamify this trend, right? Because it is some sort of a trend. It is oddly satisfying. It's something that we see in Instagram every day, but we can't really know how to make this a game. So we'll speak about how we created a game out of it. And this idea was actually in our heads for a while, but we couldn't really figure out what to do with kinetic sand slicing. We knew that stepping into an already existing community of ASMR lovers is something that could be a great success in our eyes, because something trendy, we can already sense or already feel that CPI is going to be low because a lot of users like it. But if we don't make the game perfect, then it doesn't really communicate this ASMR feeling into something that users would want to create, would want to play. And of course, my mission, as the rest of the publishing team here in Crazy Labs, is to bring your developers and to bring studios into the top charts, and of course, conquer the #1 spot. So behind the pitch, we all have this secret desire of cutting this kinetic sand, or cutting soap, or cutting something that is trendy and gives you the oddly satisfying feeling. But the truth is, none of us is going to do it on our own, right? Either if we don't have the time to do it, or we don't have the skills to do something beautiful. And this is something very nice in this game, that it gives the users and the players the ability to get the exact same feeling that they're seeing on YouTube, right here on their phone and feeling that they're actually doing this action. So we had two objectives to make this trend a success. One, and this is the most important one, is to gamify it. How to make something trendy, a trendy video, into a game. So this is where Tricky Tribe came in, our partners in Slovenia. They did a really good job in finding a well idea and turning it to a game. And the second one was communicating this ASMR feeling, because anything other than perfect would not count, because anything other than what the users are seeing in the videos on YouTube and Instagram, they would just not play it if it's not as perfect as it is on the videos. So of course, we're not only moving by trends or by hunches. We are very much data driven, and you can see it in a few slides next. We need to see data, we need to see CPI, we need to see retention, we need to see everything that we usually test in these ASMR games, because if we can't make up for the costs of acquisition, we don't have a case for the top charts. So before I go on why ASMR slicing, if anyone doesn't know what ASMR means, so you can look it up. It's eventually in English, it's what gives us as people who see it and people who watch these videos, this option, right? So it could come in crushing. So we're asking ourselves, why do we create a game of kinetic sand cutting? It answers all the following questions. So first, it appeals to the entire population. We don't want to reach gamers. I'm a gamer myself. How competitive we were. But when we're waiting for the bus, they're not really concentrated in the game, and they're not really here to play games per se. They're here to pass the time. So when we're launching these games and we're thinking about these games, we are thinking about who is our target audience. And the answer is everyone. Everyone's is target audience. So the mass appeal we have, we see that tens of millions of views on Instagram and YouTube for these kinetic sand slicing games. So we already know that is appealing, and we had a hunch that the CPI was going to be good. It doesn't mean that you need to always create games that are based on trends, but when you are creating one, you kind of have the feeling that if you do it right, the CPI will be good. And of course, there's no gender bias in these games. It's not like a dragon or a princess. You are cutting kinetic sand, and it appeals to both genders. First acquisition campaign, very important to say that we're checking the market pulse, right? We want to see if users like the game. So pure gameplay video, no UA tricks, no user acquisition hacks, no cheats, no anything, just a pure gameplay video. We're in the company are looking for CPI, which was lower than 30 cents. Now we're actually aiming for lower CPI of 20 cents, because that's how the market acts right now. The industry keeps changing, and we have to keep changing with it. And of course, we were very excited when we saw that the first CPI of this game with this gameplay video gave us 11 cents CPI. The honeymoon phase, as we call it, is the best part of production, right? It's when you see good CPI, you see good retention, you start monetization, and you go on a on scale. You go and reach as many users as you can. CPIs are very low. Retention is still very high. People are just getting into it, and you're maximizing your profits right now. You're scaling as much as you can. You see millions of downloads per day, and it's the most fun time. Important to say that we are using a lot of user acquisition videos because different videos get different CPIs on different networks, and we're trying to get the most of each of the networks that we work with. So let's talk about the timeline here. Important to say that the first CPI test that we're doing, or even the CTL test, the clock starts ticking, meaning that we're exposed. People see the ads and they know, they kind of also have the feeling that this game might be good, right? If it reaches the top charts somehow very quickly in the CPI test, the top 1,000, I mean, of course, not the top 100, or if they see a lot of traction or a lot of users coming for these games, they might know that something is up. So it's important to first launch the game while the trend is still hot, and second, be there first. It means a lot to launch first, and that's where we see, when we see we have a good CPI or a good case for a game, we push very strong, we push very heavily, we try to make this as fast as possible, of course, without hurting any of the KPIs. So talking about this, it only took us 3 weeks from the first CPI test until we globally launched. And this also shows how Tricky Tribe really did an amazing job here, right? So we published 2 games with them in the past that didn't make such a huge impact. But these guys are highly motivated and they're aiming for success. So combining that with high production value and of course choosing the right partner to work fast with you guys, it leads to success. And that's another reason that this kind of industry, the hyper casual industry, is a business. It's not a romantic fantasy to publish a game. This is a business and it requires a lot of effort from everyone. So we usually show the before and after pictures, and I really like this slide because usually we show how we progressed in terms of out and in terms of UI and in terms of UX. And we're seeing it well here. So we have a team here in Crazy Labs that is dedicated to helping the developers with UI, with UX, with anything they might need. And we can see that although it looks very small, these improvements, it does make a big impact. So we show the economy on the top right-hand side, so they know exactly how much money they have. On the top left side, they can see that they have a notification that they might upgrade their knife, upgrade the levels, buy something, watch an RV for something, and this really stimulates the users first, not do the same thing over and over again, that they see that the game has more meta, and second, of course, watch more ads to make up for the acquisition cost. Apart from that, you can see that the ocean really took a nice shape. It started as a big blue ball, and it's okay for the CPI test, it's okay for the scale test, it's fine, but when we go to the live operation, we need to see something better. And this is, again, where Tricky Tribe did all the work in terms of 3D. They really showed an ocean, it looks like an ocean, and when the challenge in this specific level is to find fish, it really makes a difference in the gameplay experience. So analytics, super important. We added a few challenges, as I just spoke, where you either have to find fish or cut the object in half or cut into thirds, or all sorts of fun challenges to create some more interest in the game. So we learn from our failures as we learn from the success. We had a game in Christmas, which is called Soap Cutting, and I'm sure you all heard of it. Another amazing success that reached the top charts, especially on Christmas Eve. And this game was all about cutting soap. Now, we wanted to make something better. We wanted to make something that is taking it to the next level. So we created these challenges. And we can see that even with challenge, even with a fail condition in the game, almost all levels had 95% completion rate. So less than 5% churn rate. We had a few levels that show that the completion rate is lower. And of course, we need to learn from our data and we need to check them. So before we launched the game, we all went through all the levels. Our developers, Tricky Tribe developers, game designers, publishing managers, products, everyone. And as I said before, we are gamers, right? We play at least 10 or 15 new games every day. And we're kind of ignoring the difficulty sometimes that are in these games. Of course, the developers who create the game, you guys, you don't see it. You don't see the levels who are tough. And that's our responsibility first to say that, and of course, check the data. So we see that users are having difficult times at certain levels. So first, we need to fix that. And second, we need to deep dive into and look why they failed. So in this specific case, it was rather easy. We saw that all levels that had less than 95% completion rate had the same challenge. It was a specific challenge that might have been too hard for the users, and that's fine. And we removed this challenge, we brought something else, and we kept tracking, of course, the analytics to see that the levels completion rate is going back to normal again. If you take one thing from this presentation, take this. It's very important for you to listen to your users. What users say in the specific levels, we don't fail, but we're not the audience for the games, right? The widest common denominator is the audience for this game. And that's who we are aiming for, and that's who we want to make happy. Advanced user acquisition. So after we're past the honeymoon stage and we are at a place when we're starting to scale, we can combine real kinetic send videos, and later on we're adding in the same video the best videos that worked in our soft launch to first make the users feel like, okay, it's not just another game, it's something that I know and like. I know and like the videos of kinetic sand cutting, and 3 seconds later, there's a gameplay video. So they have the feeling that they know what to expect, they know what's going on, and that's how we scale and keep acquiring users at low CPI at scale. And to elaborate on that, of course, the difference between soft launch and worldwide release in terms of user acquisition is something that you might not need to exactly know if you're working with a publisher, but it's very important to first know what's going on. And if you're self-publishing or if you're creating user acquisition videos yourself, it's also important to know. So soft launch user acquisition videos, let's say we're targeting, just for round numbers, of course, it's far from reality. We're targeting a group of 1,000 users, and 100 of them clicked and installed the app. So for soft launch, it's great. We reached 100 users, I don't know, let's say per day. We measure the CPI, we measure the retention, and we're good to go. That's fine with us. But when we're releasing for worldwide, we're not looking for this 10% that we acquired. I want the other 90%, right? So if I keep sending them the same message, the same ad over and over and over again, they will never click. This is where the user acquisition cheats and hacks and tricks are coming into play. We are using real life videos. We're using videos that we acquire from YouTube, something to add into the game, into the ads, of course, fun music, fun ideas, mom versus dad, noob versus pro, anything that you might think about, in order to not only get 10% of the population, because that way you will never reach 50, 60, 70 million downloads. We want the 100% of the population, and that's why we need to show them diverse ads, fun ads, ads that they can relate to. We can see that this is May's charts by Sensor Tower. We can see that ASMR slicing was #1 in Google, #6 in Apple, and overall we were #1 and the most downloaded game of May 2020. It's great job, of course, by everyone, and first kudos to Tricky Tribe and the team. To summarize, so we kind of knew what users like, And that's why we also changed the name to ASMR slicing from kinetic sand cutting. We knew that we're stepping into an existing community of ASMR lovers, so it was important for us to first gamify it, and second, make it perfect. If it's anything less than perfect in this ASMR trend games, users will not play it. And it's okay to make something less than perfect in other hyper casual, in runners or in puzzle games or in light puzzle games. That's fine because users, they don't really know what to expect when they're downloading your game. When they are downloading a game of kinetic sand cutting, they would know it's kinetic sand cutting and they know that something is going to vibrate in their minds while they're playing it. And if it's not, they'll close the app, they'll never come back, and they will go watch the YouTube videos again. So we know that it is high risk, high reward. You can create ASMR games and not succeed. You can create ASMR games and have CPIs, but bad retention, and that's how's not only in hyper casual but also in this ASMR industry in hyper casual. I'm going to leave you off with one last tip, of course. I say it all the time, onboarding is super important, right? We want to make sure that users understand how to play the game, not just in the 5 seconds, in the first 3 seconds of both the video and the game itself. So not just the user acquisition video, not just the game, they need to know how to play the game. It's easy to learn, easy to master. Great, so I can go all day and talk about the production of this game and ASMR slicing, but I'm sure you guys have questions. So first, I want to thank you all for joining. I hope that next time we meet, it's going to be in person, and hoping everyone is staying safe. Before we go into questions, I just want to mention that Crazy Labs is accepting pitches, accepting games, of course. We are with you at these tough times. And we have 2 games in the top charts right now. If you haven't seen them, if you haven't played them, go play them. Foot Clinic and Tie Dye, they're amazing games.
Okay, thanks for the awesome presentation, and I will ask you some questions from the audience. So the first question is ASMR is about sound. Do you know how many people played with the sound on?
If I know how many people played what, I'm sorry.
How many people played your game with the sound on, like with headphones maybe, or do you have the data?
If they
Or
played with sound,
yeah, with the sound.
yeah, I don't have the data. We don't have it, unfortunately, but we assume that in these sort of games, people play it with sound, because otherwise we would see very low retention rates.
Okay, the next question is what was the best platform for promotion, social platform or what? So you said 11 cents CPI. So
Yeah.
so which one was the best for you?
So first we test on Facebook and Snapchat, and this is where we get our initial results. We're testing on social media because we buy there in CPM, of course. In other networks like video networks, we CPI, so we wouldn't know exactly what the real CPI is. So the CPI that we got, the 11 cent, was on Facebook and Snapchat.
Okay, and so you said about the game has no gender bias. Uh, did actually the did you measure the gender spread, like did actually 50% was male and female, or maybe one gender was playing more than the other?
So on Facebook, you can measure the gender, of course. I can't recall if it's 50-50 or 60-40, but it's something in that range. It's not 80-20 to any gender.
Okay, thank you. Thanks again for the great presentation. And that's it. We have no questions. Uh, Maybe then you can join maybe our Discord chat or somewhere
Mhm.
else so that we can ask you more questions. later. And thank you, and hope to see you here in Latvia in Riga in our one of the next meetups. So thank
Yeah,
you.
me too. Me too. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Okay, and next presentation will be from Kasper Steinbergs, and he will tell us about Global Game Jam next.
Okay, can we start? Okay, can you hear me? Yeah. Uh, Hello, I'm Kaspers Steinbergs. I am director of study program game design and graphics at Eke University of Applied Sciences. As well, I am a board member of Latvian Game Developers Association. So, I guess you all know what is global game jam, or maybe you know what is game jam, and that's fine if you don't know what is a game jam, because you should try this one. I can promise this is without any sugar, but I guess you will get some affection of this jam. So for those who know global game jam, um, Global Game Jam next is like little brother or sister of Global Game Jam. So this is Game Jam for young creators who would like to try to make their first game. And this is second year when this event is happening here in Riga. This time this event will be fully online. So the event will be for 2 weeks. Um, Starting next week. First week will be like more online lessons. You can participate whenever you want to. So you don't need to be online all the time to listen to lectures, to make some decisions or work in a team. You can join whatever you want, but you should be in age 12 till 17 years. And this time that you don't need to come to Riga or to any other place, join online. So I will tell later where you can join this event. So it doesn't matter. Do you know any coding, or do you know anything about art? You can join without any skills, or if you are advanced in game design, also please join. So yep. So first week will be more like instructional lectures. with some videos, with some tasks about game design. So you will work on your own, but you can work also in teams. And both weeks, this event will be in Latvian. So of course, all materials will be also in English and in other languages, but uh, we will translate all materials in Latvian. So if you are age 12 till 17, please join this event. And you can see that the first week it will be like training how to make a game. So you can join, watch videos, and both weeks you will get mentoring. So mentors will help you to work on your games and also get some feedbacks, or maybe help with the code, or maybe help with the art, or um, um, answer your questions about game design. So this is the first week. So the second week will be real jamming week. So you will try to make your own games working in teams with the help of mentors. And the game jam will end with final day of those 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks, you will hopefully make your first game, and then you will have a presentation event. So everyone can join the event and see your games. So you can see this is the schedule of all 10 days. And as I said, event is online, so all that you need is just a computer and internet connection. So if you would like to join, so you can see here is a link to where you can apply for this event. Please do it, because we will send all information only for those participants who will apply to this event. You can apply till end of this week and even next week, because next week we will have only some videos and some tutorials, some tasks, but real game jam will start after the week. So if you would like to have more information, there is an info link, there is Facebook event, and also you can write to this email address and ask some questions about Global Game Jam next 2020 Riga. So please apply now, and we would like to have more participants than we had last year. Okay, that's it. Thank you much.
Okay, thanks to Kaspars, and thank you for joining Game Dev Meetup 86. And hope to see you in the Game Dev Meetup 87. And yep, bye till next month.